Welcome to Money Secrets with Bill and Mike.
I'm Bill Alexander.
And I'm Mike Tove. And we have a very special guest today.
We certainly do.
Dr. Weir, and you have another show on CW22.
Absolutely, called Loving Life.
And so,
well, this show is going to be a little different than what folks would normally expect on Money Secrets, but you know, there is an old expression, health is wealth.
That's very true.
And so we're going to come back and we're going to talk about that because I think you've probably got a lot to share, don't you?
Can't wait.
All right. See you in a minute. And we're back. So, Dr. Weir, we were talking about health is wealth, and I know that there's a lot of common things that everybody sort of knows. You know, your health insurance is less if you're healthy as opposed to being sick. But I think there's a lot more to it, and this is Money Secrets. So, what are some of the money secrets about good health?
Well, you know, as I've been in practice now, this is my 36th year. So I've seen people from all ends of the spectrum, from the very, very rich to the very, very poor. And the thing I get from people is this: you've got to be healthy in order to enjoy life, in order to love life. And there's an old saying that, you know, you can spend all your health getting wealth, but then you get to that point, you have to spend all your wealth trying to regain your health. So I think it's important for us to have a point where we start, where we're going to be healthy.
Right. You know, from my side of things is business and finance. And I was doing a little bit of homework before because I knew you were coming on the show. I was so excited about it. But I was doing a little bit of homework on this. And here is an interesting fact, that somebody who starts off at age 25, if they were 25 today, and they smoke one pack of cigarettes a day, that's it. By the time they are 70, 45 years later, if they had taken that money and just invested it in something that was simple, just track the S&P 500 and put it into something that was tax-free like a Roth IRA, they would have in excess of $1.16 million in a retirement account instead of smoking cigarettes.
And they wouldn't be coughing.
Exactly.
Or asthmatic,
or
all the other things that
cancer
come
or
with
heart
it, right?
disease.
But who smokes one pack?
Well, right, but that's just a one-pack thing. Yeah, I know. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's any secret that it's better not to smoke than to smoke.
Exactly.
Not just for the finances, but for the health reasons.
Sure.
So
but
tell me how to stay healthy.
But we're bombarded with that one, and everybody knows it, and they go, well, yeah, because people love this game of denial, right? It's like, oh, I know what applies to everybody else, but the facts don't count because I'll be the exception to the rule. I won't be the one.
Right.
And so we all know what the facts are.
Well, Mike, I want to hear from Dr. Weir.
Sure.
He's our expert.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, you know, if you were to get on the internet, look, how can I be healthy? I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. What do? Because you've got somebody saying this to be healthy, and then over here you got somebody saying just the opposite.
Right.
So I always tell, look at clinicians, look at people who deal with people's health all day long. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk to, for example, I don't want to talk to a money guy who can barely pay his bills.
Right. Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
Choice, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to talk to a doctor or a healthcare provider who's sick as a dog.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to somebody who has good health, good life. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Well, part of it's hard to cut through the chase. You know, if you're on the internet at all, you'll get all of this information and it says take this pill or take this laxative or whatever.
Right.
And it's confusing to
Well,
follow.
forget the internet.
Yeah,
how about
exactly.
just going how about going to a vitamin store?
Right.
Oh my
Same.
God. Yeah.
Lord,
Right.
look at all the stuff that's on there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the internet is always exactly accurate, too, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I heard a comedian say one time, last year was a terrible year for her. She had liver cancer. She had arthritis and bursitis and colitis, and she said, I've got to stop watching the WebMD. Because you look it up and, my God, I got that, now I got this, I got this. Mm-hmm. Overall, we're healthy people.
Right.
When we compare ourselves to third world countries, we're extremely healthy people. The key is for us to figure out how to stay healthy and how to become more healthy.
Right.
And part of our problem is as we become more affluent, our eating habits tend to change a little bit.
Well, true. Of
So-
course, you know, it being the time of year where people have made resolutions, the two biggest resolutions are lose weight and exercise.
What is that word you're using? Resolution.
Yeah, resolution. But is it so much that our eating habits have changed, or is it that our bodies have changed on us, and what we could get away with when we were 20, we can't get away with so much when we're, well, a little bit older than what we used to be?
Well, part of the problem is we're not eating the same food that Grandpa and Grandma were eating.
Well, that's true.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you, I used to talk to my grandmother. My grandmother was from Germany. So she, instead of calling me Timmy, she called me Tommy. And in that, she would say to me, the only time we got candy was at Christmas time. We got a little bag of Christmas candy. Mm-hmm. And now I'm telling you, it's nothing for a child to go get a candy bar, stop, grab a big gulp, and chug that down. By the time they have done that, they've had more sugar than Grandma ever had in a whole year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what's interesting, because we have put into, in my own family, a sort of a guideline that when we go out anywhere, we drink water.
Exactly.
And you know what's amazing is now we actually like water.
Well, it's a lot cheaper.
Well, it's not that, well, that's too, but it's also just better.
Well, but what he said, we have 13 people in our family, or 12 people. And if we all go out, if we all drink soda or something, those
God.
they're $3 a piece. That's $36 per meal just for the soda.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're
you'd do
right.
better going to the movie theater and getting the giant with the refill. And so
to your
we'll be
room.
back in a minute. We'll cover some of this. We'll be right back. And we're back with Dr. Weir.
Glad to be back.
Well, one of the questions I have, my wife, she's starting to buy food without preservatives in them and without other, natural type things. And I know that's not a particularly good characterization, but does that make a difference?
Well, it's interesting because people go to, I don't want to mention the big names of health food stores, and spend so much money on health food. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, not everything at a health food store is healthy. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's some crappy stuff there too. And so, in having said that, with, for example, organic food, the only difference between organic food and the food you get at the local food store is that it doesn't have pesticides. Okay, is that important? Yeah. But it's still the same food as the other food is, it just doesn't have pesticides. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, I mean, so much of it's confusing. I know I read that I'm supposed to eat a lot less red meat and more fish, but then I have friends who eat or used to eat a lot of fish, and then they found out that they had too much mercury in their system and things like that. That was very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, and I'm telling you, it's not the same platform as it was when Grandpa and Grandma were around. Mm-hmm. I do recommend people eat mainly vegetables, fruits, and meat, and some fat. Sometimes we look at people and they say, well, you shouldn't eat any fat. Well, really, your body requires fat. Your body uses fat for the brain, for all those things. So the key is to learn how to eat so I can be healthy, and not just because there's a whole lot of, for weight loss. I know a lot of skinny people who are sick as dogs.
Right.
And I know some overweight people who are very healthy. So it has nothing to do with weight. It has everything to do with blood chemistry. Okay. So I've got to look at what am I eating that is making my blood chemistry good. I mean, I can be skinny and have the worst triglycerides and cholesterol and everything like that, or I can be overweight and have some really good signs on those things.
That makes sense.
So I want to be healthy.
I have to make a little plug. My dad, who was a faculty member at NC State, head of biochemistry,
Yeah.
member of the American Nutritionists, he used to say that his version of a diet was, he called it the BVIM diet, and that stands for balanced, varied, in moderation.
Makes
And
sense.
That's it. I mean, there's no one package, just like with financial stuff, there's no one size that fits
Exactly.
all for everybody in every circumstance. It's always based on,
And that's why you can't just go on the internet and punch something in and say,
No.
well, I'm going to do this for my finance.
Right.
Well, your finance is totally different than everybody else's, and it's the same
Exactly.
thing with your health.
Well,
Exactly.
my doctor tells me to stay away from salt now. But that's hard to do. I mean, if you go out to dinner, things have salt in it. Most processed foods, unless you cook everything natural yourself, has a good bit of salt in it.
You know, and it depends on how controversial you want to get. My thing with salt is this. It's not so much that I have too much salt, it's that I don't have enough potassium in my diet.
right.
Okay.
There has to be a balance in that. So you can cut your salt down to bring it down to this potassium level that's low, or I can bring my potassium level up to where my salt is.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Eat more bananas.
I'm telling you, you have, again, and another thing, you know, you shouldn't have fat. No, that's not true. You shouldn't have salt. Well, you got to have salt. Your body requires salt in your system. So just finding the correct balance of everything.
So it's that old thing about balance again. I mean, it always
And
seems
it really
to come
is
back
true.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you decide, well, I'm going to cut this out completely, I mean, you're miserable. We've been given 70, 75 years to live. That's according to the Bible.
Well,
Well, I think
We're
a
all
lot-
going to.
I think life expectancies are a lot longer than that.
Oh yeah,
now,
sure
but
is.
but we all get to. What I'm saying is, we all get to a point where it's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, another thing I read frequently is that another key ingredient is avoiding stress.
oh,
So tell me about that.
incredibly important. You know, every time you're in a stressful situation, your body puts out chemicals that it has to deal with things. There's what is called the fight-flight system in the body, where you're either going to stay and fight the guy, or you're going to let your legs do the run and you're out of there.
Right.
Stress puts you into that fight-flight a lot, okay? And when you get into that situation, you use the adrenal glands more than you would. The adrenal glands are those glands that come in when the mother, her car's on fire, her baby's in the car, she walks up, pulls the car door off. That's the adrenal glands.
Right.
But if I'm in stress all the time, I'm using the adrenal glands all the time, and pretty soon I don't have them when I need them. So you're exactly right. Finding out all the ways that I can deal with stress, and some of that is nutrition, some of that is chiropractic care. If you look at some of the studies about chiropractic care and how it helps the body maintain homeostasis and helps you adapt to stress levels, it's absolutely fabulous. So diet, exercise, I think is good. And now I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not a big gym guy.
I'm not either.
Well, I have found, and studies are starting to show this, that people who go to the gym every day and for a couple of hours get to be sicker than those people who don't. So I always recommend, what's our M word? Moderation. Exactly. Finding something that you do and that you love to do, whether that's yard work. I have a Great Dane, he's on our TV show with me, his name is Elvis. So we take Elvis for a walk. It's interesting.
Or maybe he takes you for one.
Yeah, he
I was
does.
about to say.
Somebody said if you got a skinny dog, that means you're probably out walking the dog, and that's probably a good key. So get out and just walk. You know, just activity is important,
Yeah.
and that lowers the stress level. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, you know, and we're going to take a short break and come back and continue this. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Dr. Weir, I have a basic question. This show is Money Secrets. What are some of the biggest single things that people can do, other than what we've talked about, to make it more monetarily good for them to have good health? I mean, we know what we're supposed to do, but maybe we need a little extra motivation.
Excellent question. The fact is, if I'm not healthy, if my body's not working 100% the way I believe God created it to function, then I can't function at home. I can't be a good husband. I can't be a good father. I can't function at the job. I can't do my best on the job. So if I can't do my best on the job and the boss is looking at everybody in the group and saying, wonder who I can bump up to the upper management, he's probably not going to go for me if I'm not healthy because I'm not performing at my top. So it's important that you be healthy.
Right. So some of the leading problems, I mean, heart disease, cancer, things like that, those are the biggies.
Yeah.
What are some of the small things that we can, because everybody knows about that, you know, you don't smoke, of course, the people who smoke, they go, well, I'll quit tomorrow.
Right.
Don't drink to excess. Of course, then you got people who say, but if you have a glass of red wine, that's a good thing, and what are some of the smaller things that we can do?
If you want to know my top tips that I give to people, and it's this: stay away from the whites.
What are the whites?
What are the whites?
White flour, white sugar, and believe it or not, dairy. I recommend staying away from all of those, and you'll be much healthier as a result of it. I tell my patients, humans are the only animals, the only species on the planet who the mother weans, and we say, okay, we're done here, the shop's closed, but now let me give you some cow's milk.
Right.
Okay? It doesn't make any sense. And what do you give your kids instead of milk? You mentioned it a little bit earlier, water.
Yeah.
Anything but soda.
Well, soda's good as a treat, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, things are okay on occasion, but just it's not when.
Well, I'm telling you.
Well, let me ask you another one. I mean, you know, sodas are just laden with sugar.
Sure they are.
And so many folks just suck one down right after the other. What about all these new energy drinks?
Oh, wow. Total sugar, total chemical.
Caffeine, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, have a cup of coffee instead. Or find out why you need it and correct that. See, we tend to look at all the stuff and take a pill for this, a potion for that, pill for this.
Right.
And I'm saying get to the cause and find out why do I feel like I do, and then I won't have to have the energy drink.
Well, you know, you mentioned earlier how important your blood work is, but I know, and every diabetic knows, you know, blood sugar spikes and makes a big difference in your life. But that's about sugar, is it not?
Oh, it's exactly about sugar. And see, there is so much hidden sugar that you don't even realize. It's in everything. It's in bread. It's in pasta. It's in the tomato sauce that goes on the pasta. It's in ketchup.
So
it's
we're
in
getting
mustard.
sugar even if we're not eating
Even
those
if you're
candy
not
bars.
putting it on. Yeah, exactly. And then we wonder why we're dealing with some of the stuff that we're dealing with. And you know, diabetics come to me and they say, well, I'll eat a piece of chocolate cake, and if it goes up, I'll just touch my insulin pump, and it'll bring my insulin up.
Wow.
That doesn't fix anything.
No.
In fact, the trouble with diabetes is that it shreds the inside of the blood vessels.
Right.
The first ones to go are the inside of the eye blood vessels. So we start losing our sight. We start losing our kidney. We start losing.
And you know, and back in the 100 years ago, if you had diabetes, it was almost invariably type 1, which was your pancreas shut down. Now it's all type 2. It's fat diabetes. It's I'm sorry, that's a terrible word, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And so part of my show is life is all about choices.
Mm-hmm.
The choices I make today determine my future tomorrow. So if I want to not be a diabetic, I better make some choices, and I better make them fast, and I better stick to it.
Well, one of the issues I've always seen with most of us is that we're optimists.
Yeah.
And we figure everything is fine until the doctor says things are not so fine. And then, and only then, do we really change how we go about our daily lives.
Right.
And that would be nice, but some people don't even change then.
Right.
Well, it's hard to change.
It's very hard to change.
It takes effort.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you so very much
my
for being
pleasure.
on our show. This
Thank
was
you.
great. We will be right back with a quick wrap-up, and we'll talk to you then. And we're back. Dr. Weir, if we wanted to watch your show, tell us about it.
On CW22, it's on Saturday mornings at 6:30. Lord have mercy. That's why God made DVR.
Yeah, I know.
But you can check it out at drtimweir.com and go to our YouTube channel and all kinds of things like that. My practice is actually in Raleigh, and that's Raleigh Injury Chiropractic also.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being with us.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
It's an
sir.
honor.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, I'm Mike Tove of AIN Services. We do insurance and financial planning. We can be reached at 800-363-2296.
And I'm Bill Alexander, founder of W.G. Alexander & Associates, a law firm devoted to estate planning, elder law, and asset protection.
And you have a TV show, too. I mean, a radio show. What did I
Well, we
say?
certainly do. I invite you to listen to Asset Protection Today on WPTF, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.